Hello, welcome to this new video. This will be a bit different from the content previously posted to my YouTube channel, because for the 21st video, I wanted to make a coding tutorial showing you how to build your first Bitcoin Cash application. So that's what we're going to do today. It's not targeted at experienced Bitcoin Cash builders like software developers who already know how to get started, but at people who are interested to learn how to do this, but have never done this before. Because that's also how I started. I wanted to build stuff on Bitcoin Cash, but I didn't know how, and now I'm a self-taught Bitcoin Cash developer. So I want to point others in the right direction and help them get started. I think it's very important that we not only try to attract talent from the outside of Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin Cash, so talent and builders, but also that we help people who want to build and are already involved in Bitcoin Cash, just show them how to get started, or show them how to build the idea they have or the application they want to build. So that's the goal for this video, to help people get started. First, let's take a look at the technologies we're actually going to use. So for Bitcoin Cash, we're going to use the mainnet.js library. You can find the documentation at mainnet.cash. It's a JavaScript library to develop for Bitcoin Cash. And then secondly, what we're going to use is Vue. So this is very popular even outside of Bitcoin Cash. It's a JavaScript framework to build web apps, so specifically user interfaces. So this is also what we'll use. And I'm going to show two examples of applications on Bitcoin Cash that use these two pieces of technology. The first one is by a friend of mine, Sploit. So this is viewer.sploit.cash, and he built an NFT viewer. So you can browse Cash Tokens NFT collections by putting in a Cash Tokens address, or you can check out the recently minted NFTs on Bitcoin Cash, like the Cash Ninjas and the BitCats. And you can keep track of different collections that you find interesting, maybe of friends, of traders, so you know which NFTs to buy and sell, or something like that. So this is built with mainnet.js to get the NFTs on each address, or to get the metadata for each NFT, things like that, everything related to Bitcoin Cash. And then Vue.js is used for the positioning of the elements, to have these different boxes render the relevant information, to have these stats at the right place, things like that, and automatically update. So that's what Vue is used for. And a second example of what you can build with these two pieces of technology is Cashanize. So you can build a full web wallet inside your browser, and this uses mainnet.js for everything. Cashanize was the first to use mainnet.js when it was upgraded for Cash Tokens. So that's when I started the project. And so everything for the token balances, the token send functionality, the Bitcoin Cash send functionality, it's all using mainnet.js. And then now I'm transitioning to Vue.js to have a nicer rendering, for example, of all these different tokens and elements and different functionalities, which will be much smoother with Vue.js. So this is the software technologies that we are going to use. So first we get started by making a default application with Vue and having that run. And once we get the default application running, we want to import mainnet.js, the mainnet.js library. So we will need a little configuration for that. So it will be a few complex steps, but it will not take too long. And then once we have it imported, we can use the specific functionality to get a balance of a certain wallet. And we will use that to actually display the balance. So that's the end goal, to have an address appear as well as the address balance. So let's move back to Vue.js and head to the getting started. And the getting started starts with an introduction. So if you are interested, you can read all this about the differences between Vue 2 and Vue 3, but we just want a quick start. And we'll be creating a Vue application. So what you need as a prerequisite is Node.js installed. So this is an environment to run JavaScript applications. So this is very handy. This is required to run these kind of JavaScript programs. And Node comes with a program called npm, the Node package manager. And then we can run this command, npm create Vue at latest. So this command is what we'll need to get started. And then we can pick and choose different add-ons as configuration, but we will not use this. So let's get started in the terminal and actually run this command npm create view at latest. And then we can choose a name. So we'll just use BCH app. And I recommend learning about TypeScript, but for this quick tutorial, we will not use any of the additions. So then it gives us the three instructions which we'll need to do to actually see the basic app running. First, we need to cd, so navigate into our project folder. So you can also do this by just clicking on the folder. And then we need to npm install. So this will take a bit because it will install all the dependencies of our application. And this gives me a second to talk. So if you go to the main.js application, note that we also need to npm install main.js in a bit. So that will also take a few seconds. And now it is finished running. So you can run the final command, npm run dev. And this is a very very essential command to start your application in developer mode. So let's actually run npm run dev. And then you will see this message that it's running on localhost. So let's actually open it. And then you get navigated to localhost 5173 with a message, you did it. You've successfully created a project with Vite and Vue 3. And it's a bunch of extra links, which we don't need for now. So we'll get started with modifying this basic application. So glad that we got this working, and then we'll use another tab so we can keep this running in the background, and then we'll also navigate to the BCH app. And the goal is now to have to use a code editor to actually edit the code that we see running here. So I'm using VS Code, so I can open it this way. So then we are in the BCH app folder inside VS Code. So then we want to navigate to where this app actually lives, so we can start editing and playing around with it. So we need to navigate to source, and then you see app.view. And here, if you take a look, it says hello world, message, you did it. So if we change this to first BCH app, exclamation mark, you will see that it instantly re-renders our Vue Vite application. So this is how we can change what we see on the screen. And here it also says the welcome. So for example, if we delete this and save, you will see the whole right-hand side with the extra instructions disappear, which is good because we didn't need it anyway. So the welcome was imported from the components directory. So you can see here, there's a bunch of other Vue files, which we will not use anymore, but we will need to import main.js now. And all these extra packages are in the package.json file. So you can see currently the only dependency we have is Vue version 3.3.4. And we will also be adding main.js to this. So to do that, we navigate to the documentation and we use this command npm install main.js. So here npm install main.js. And this can take a few seconds. So let's give it the time to run. And then here it has, if you are building a production web app, see the detailed nodes using main.js in a web app. So detailed nodes, here it shows how to import, for example, the wallet functionality from main.js. So we'll use this command, import wallet from main.js. And we can also see this if we go to the GitHub page. So on main.js, the GitHub page, there main.js, it has a demo folder. So in the demo folder, it has examples for React, Vue, and this is what we are using, Vue Vite. So this is not, you can also try this setup, but it's a bit more, it has a bunch of other stuff added already. But for example, you can see here in the source folder, in the app, that the example imports the wallet from main.js and then actually uses something called async mounted to get the wallet started. So we will do something similar to get main.js started in our Vue application. So now we can see main.js installed correctly, and it's listed as a dependency. So we want to import it. And as we said, we can use import wallet from main.js. And then we'll use the mount functionality. So this is something we need to import from the Vue library. So we import onMounted from Vue. So don't worry if you don't understand this specific part. So we just need onMounted and then an async function. So this is what that looks like. And here we can write, for example, await wallet.new random in the mounted function. So we will console.log this. So this is just a print statement, so we can see it appear in the browser console. So now if we try to get this running and take a look at the Vite app and in the console, you do this by pressing Fn and then 12. So the function key and 12, you should be able to see the developer logs, but now it's all in red and it says error loading dynamically imported module. So here we will need a little bit of configuration, and the specific configuration we will need, you can see this in the terminal, because here it says bitalt libart build failed with 2 errors. Top level await is not available in the configured target environment. So we need to change the target environment to support this, and we can easily get this from the example configuration provided here in the Vue Vite demo folder. So here, if you go to Vite config, the only part that we will need is this part, optimize dependencies, ES build options, and then target ES next. So we will also need to go to the configurations. Under plugins, we provide this, and we have to close all the brackets, so it's a valid configuration, and then end with a comma. So now all the red lines are gone. We save this, we go back, we see no errors in this part, and then we go back to our Vite app, but it gives another error. So this is progress in programming, because our old error has been solved, but we get a new one and it says buffer is not defined. So this is for a technical reason, but we need polyfills. So if you search for polyfills, then you will end up at this NPM application. It's called Vite plugin node polyfills, and it explains why there's a need for the polyfills, but we can just copy paste this installation command. So npm install developer Vite plugin node polyfills, and we'll take a look, because here it says how to import them. So we'll need this command. Go to the VS Code editor, import it at the top. If it's finished, yeah, import it at the top, and then we need to actually use the node polyfill. So let's take a look. In plugins, we need to say node polyfills like this. So under Vue, we will just say node polyfills, then we actually use them, and we do save. Then go back to our application and see what it says. Now we have an object here. So this is what we wanted. We console log, so we print our wallet object. So remember, we did here at the top, await wallet.new random. So we get a random mainnet wallet. So if you take a look at this object, it says network mainnet. Then here the address at the bottom, there is a token address, as well as the private key, the public key, and the mnemonic. So normally you should keep this secret, but because this is random and just for testing, this doesn't matter. So now we want to display some wallet information, of course, on the website, because currently the site itself looks very boring. It's only in the developer console where we can actually find that we created a Bitcoin Cash wallet. So what we need to do now is we need something called a reference in Vue. So we need to import this reference. And what is a reference? A reference is something that is updated dynamically and rendered. So we want to, for example, have a reference called address, and we will initialize this reference as an empty string. So this is how we initialize a new reference. And then we could display it already. So for example, if we tested it and called it address, and here we display the address, so like this with the double brackets, then we would see here address. So that's how that works. So we want to move it, instead of at the right hand side, we probably want it below the message. And then we don't want it to say just address, we want an actual Bitcoin Cash wallet address. So how do we do it? We first need to define a wallet, and this is with the code we just wrote, we just move it one line up. So wallet is a new random wallet. Need to close these brackets properly. And then we can use wallet dot, and here it says a bunch of things, but there's also suggested by our code editor, wallet dot address. So we will console.log this, and then we can see that we actually get the address here in our console. So of course we don't want it in the console, we want it to replace this address string that we have. So we can simply say address dot value equals, and then our wallet address. So if we do it like that, then we will see, or we should see, that it loads, or maybe we get an error. Let's just actually check. It needs a double S, so wallet.address, and then we see our wallet address. So maybe if we're very fast, it's pretty much instantly. So the first split second, it should say address, but we might as well just have an empty string. And of course, each time we refresh, note that the address is different, because the code we run just generates a new random wallet, then logs this wallet, and then sets the address reference, which is reactive and updates dynamically, sets it here to the latest value. So now we have the address, but we also want the balance. So what we can already do is balance, double point, and then here have a balance item. So you would do the same as for address. We need a new reference called balance. And let's set it just for testing to some random number, and we can see it displays correctly. So the real balance is probably 0 on this random wallet. So we want to actually get the address balance. And if we go to the documentation, JavaScript, getting the balance, we see if we do await wallet.getBalance, we get back an object with BCH amount, Satoshi amount, and the US dollar amount. So say we want a Satoshi amount, then we need a wallet.getBalance, and we can either provide it the Satoshi, or we can later on this object get the specific item that we want. So we'll use this second method. We'll just put in sat. So let's first console.log it, console.log, and we'll use the same thing we see here. So wait wallet get balance Satoshi. Go back to the Vite application, and here it says 0, just like we wanted. So then we need to update the balance here in our view application. And we do it the same as we saw before. So with address.value, here we did it with address.value. So we need to do it with balance.value is, and then we want this item. So either we could just copy paste it again. So here we get the balance twice actually. So this would work. So if you refresh, you see 1, 2, 3 for a second, and then once the balance actually loads, it switches to 0. So here it could start with just nothing. And then instead of doing it like this, where we get the balance twice, we could just declare a constant. So constant balance, like Satoshi balance, it's better because we used the name balance already. We can use balance Satoshis is equal to this whole thing. So we move that a line up, and then we use this constant at these two locations. So then if we go back, it says 0. So if we refresh, balance is loading, balance is 0. So this is our first BCH app. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. So the only technical thing I would say is the unmounted that we needed to use and the specific configuration. So the configuration with view Vite is not too bad. You need to node polyfills and the target build option. But besides that, the main thing you can need to learn is how to work with view. But as you can see, it's not too difficult. So I think there is certainly a learning curve with the reactive references. But besides that, it's pretty easy to get started with. So this is what I would suggest to start with and start building out. Maybe see if you can also get NFT metadata, something similar to this, or you can also go the cachenize route where you add to this balance information and where you use persistent wallets. So it's called named wallets, which are persistent. So you can read this part of the documentation where the wallets are not reset after each time. And here is the extra information about cash tokens and BCMR stuff. So if you want to play around with cash tokens, like make an airdrop tool or do some fancy giveaway transactions, you can do it programmatically with this tooling that you see under the cash tokens section. So this is how you get started. You can also take a look if you want to use React or some other setup. The documentation is pretty handy, so be sure to refer back to it. But I found this to be the most easy setup. Yeah, I hope you all found it interesting. So this is the first episode. I'm sure we can build this out into something much more complex and interesting. But the first step is very important. So I hope you all are able to follow along. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.